All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country.
If you break our laws by entering this country without permission and give birth to a child, we reward that child with U.S. citizenship and guarantee of full access to all public and social services this society provides.
In Mexico, there is no welfare, there is no AFDC, there is no SSI, there is no Medicaid, there is no Social Security, there is no Medicare, and there's a 58-cent an hour minimum wage. Mexico does nothing to enforce its border.
What we need to do simultaneously, secure our borders, the technology, personnel, physical barriers if necessary in some places.
People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally.
If poverty is increasing and if wages are going down, I don't know why we need millions of people to be coming into this country as guest workers who will work for lower wages than American workers and drive wages down even lower than they are right now.
The day when America could be the welfare system for Mexico is gone. We simply can't afford it.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple.
We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
This is a country that's based on immigration, and we all know that. And yet, at times, you become so overtaxed, you have to concentrate on saying the people who should be here are those who come legally at this time.
It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
The border is closed. The border is secure.
The border is secure.
Netanyahu that the border is secure, sir?
No, it's not. I haven't believed it for the last 10 years.
So let's just state the facts. We are currently experiencing the lowest number of border crossings since 1971. In California, like our nation, our undocumented population is at the lowest level in more than a decade.
Mr. Vice President, under the Trump administration, asylum has virtually ended. ICE detention centers are practically empty. Your new plan calls for reversing President Trump's harsh plan. But won't that restart a brand new border crisis? I mean, what would you do with all those people in camps now waiting in Mexico?
It will if we don't do it well. If we don't reach out to the communities that are willing to, the charitable communities that will come in and help, and in addition to us spending millions of dollars providing for access for judges, access for asylum folks to be on the border, to move quickly.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
I guess I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason why it's happening.
We can get to the U.S. because they're having a new president, it's Biden. He's going to help all of us.
The idea that Joe Biden said come, because I heard the other day that they're coming because they know I'm a nice guy and I won't do what Trump did.
This.
Yeah.
Remember, you wanted this.
Immediately surged to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come. And those who come seeking asylum, we should immediately have the capacity to absorb them. This country can tolerate a heck of a lot more people. First time ever we've told people they can't come to America. That ends. The cage is closed. We're not going to deport anybody who, in fact, has not in this country committed a felony.
If I can change.
Do you have to say quite clearly, don't come?
Yes, I can say quite clearly, don't come. Don't leave your town or city or community.
Or if they attempt to cross into the United States unlawfully, they'll be returned back to Mexico.
And you can change.
But what does Donald Trump do? He says, go back to where you came from. That is not reflective of our America and our values, and it's got to end.
Everybody should change.
Do not come. Do not come. If you come to our border, you will be turned back.
First caravan of the year 2024. Today, around 5 o'clock in the morning, migrants started walking from the south border of Tapachula again, heading north of the state of Chiapas. Around 1,500 migrants started walking today from the south border, demanding to the authorities so they can give them the multiple migration form or the visa of transit so they can move forward into the northern borders to the United States of America. Around 1,500 migrants that they are speculating the entities are from Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, Venezuela, and Haiti. The migrants are still walking on the coast of the highway heading north to the state of Chiapas, waiting for the authorities of Mexico to see if they can get the multiple migration form so they can get out of the south border state of Mexico. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. Stay safe.
And just recently, a vicious illegal alien criminal who was wanted for murder all over the planet, wanted. Everybody knew this person, not a good person, was discovered living as a fugitive right here in Las Vegas. Isn't that nice? We have no choice. Within moments of my inauguration, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in America. No choice. And there's a 100% chance that there will be a major terrorist attack in the United States, or many attacks maybe. And it's all because of what's happened over the last 3 years.
Hello, everyone. There's a lot that's been happening this past week, especially with the border, and I'll tell you, it's pretty scary. We've had just recently, looks like that I didn't really think much of anything was going to happen with this anyway, but the state of Texas defying essentially the order of the Supreme Court in regards to the razor wire. And yes, a lot of people have their own opinions on that, on what that whole thing meant, but I think some people thought that maybe it would lead to a kinetic kind of civil war thing between National Guard and federal agents, but it seems that, I think, in my opinion, based on what I've read, that the feds have backed down, because I think they're starting to realize that we all are starting to wake up to this. I mean, there's a lot of us that have already been paying attention. Those of you who've been watching my videos and commenting, we are on YouTube, Odyssey, Kick, Rumble, Twitter. You know, those of you that sent comments are paying attention to what's going on, but I think more people that aren't really kind of watching NBC and MSNBC, I think a lot of these people are starting to kind of realize what's going on, as much as the mainstream media is trying to hide it and suppress it. And it's also, I think, becoming more obvious that this isn't something where the Biden administration, because it's not Biden, he doesn't know what the hell's going on, but the communists that are running his administration, these communists are, they are facilitating this. This is something that they are doing on purpose. The Biden administration didn't just wake up one day and go, "Oh my God, we didn't see this coming." All those videos that you saw before, you know, the Democrats, Clinton, Obama, Feinstein, Schumer, all of them, Sanders, they all had issues with. They knew that this, what's going on now, back in the 90s was a problem. But what's changed? What's changed is that they figured out, or they think, I don't think that the strategy is going to work for them, because most people that do come to this country, Latin Americans, in my opinion, start voting with the right, especially ones that come here legally. But I think it's that the communists, first of all, it's in the communist playbook. It's very clear. The way to destroy America, because that is their goal, to destroy America is their opportunity to take it over, is that you bring in as many non-assimilating illegal immigrants as you can. The communists are against legal immigration. They are very clear on that. The reason they're against legal immigration is because those who migrate here legally, not only do they assimilate, But there are people who are extremely hardworking, conservative in their values, conservative from a religious standpoint, and share the values of the hardworking people of the United States. So, again, the way a lot of these people are talking about this, even on the conservative side, are acting as if that this was some sort of they're calling it a border crisis. It's a border strategy. It's always been a strategy. All the way back from the 60s, when the laws were changed in order to stop Western European, Scandinavian immigrants from coming to this country. It's an Immigration Act of 1965. They stopped immigration, essentially halted immigration from Western Europe and Scandinavia, and changed it to Africa and Latin America. And so, and there's also there's other reasons too why they need an influx of immigrants like this, because not only are they trying to get votes in order to keep themselves in power and destroy America with non-assimilating immigrants, but like the Koch brothers and billionaire donors, to them, they can be used as cheap labor. So we're going to replace you with cheaper workers. Why do you think your salaries haven't increased? So this is a letter that the Biden White House put out that he stole. Just welcome. I guess when the country becomes a piece of crap, you need only take some other people's country. All are small hats. The other thing too is, it's an interesting point, is that these countries, Nicaragua, all these what they're doing is they're giving us the people that they don't want. And there's a lot of people that have been saying our insane asylums are empty, our jails are empty, because they're emptying them out, and they're heading in our direction. And so, once again, it makes sense from a standpoint of a communist wanting that to happen, because what are they going to do? They're going to cause chaos. I mean, if they're mentally ill and they're criminals. And of course, this is what Donald Trump said when he came down the escalator in 2016, and he was immediately attacked. And again, that's a strategy from the communists. He said not all of them are bad, but they're not sending their best. And immediately he was criticized and called racist for saying so. That is a strategy in the communist playbook to say, if anyone says what we're doing is wrong, call them racist. That word doesn't have any meaning hardly at all anymore, because it's overused. But to give you perspective, it is a communist playbook strategy to call people racist who are against something that's blatantly illegal and being used to destroy the country. These are people who are the ones who are facilitating this, including the NGOs that are taking the money, like American Red Cross, Doctors Without Borders, just to name a couple. There's a lot more. They are actively destroying the country, and they are actively, I guess you can't necessarily call it treason, but it's definitely a crime against the United States. Seditious conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. And of course, the January 6th people were tried for that. But again, you can see how lawfare, and I'll get into that. I want to go off on a huge tangent here. because there's definitely a couple of major things in the news that I want to talk about. But here's a letter from the Communist Biden administration. Statement of the President Biden on bipartisan Senate border security negotiations. For far too long, we all know the border's been broken. It's long past time to fix it. That's why 2 months ago, I instructed my team to begin negotiations with a bipartisan group of senators to seriously and finally address the border crisis. For weeks now, that's what they've done, working around the clock through the holidays and over weekends. Let's be clear. What's been negotiated would, if passed into law, would be the toughest and fairest set of reforms to secure the border we've ever had in our country. It would give me, as president, a new emergency authority to shut down the border when it becomes overwhelmed. It's already overwhelmed, and you haven't done anything about it. And if given the authority, I would use it the day I sign the bill into law. Further, Congress needs to finally approve the funding I request in October to secure the border. This includes an additional 1,300 border agents, 375 immigration judges, 1,600 asylum officers, and over 100 cutting-edge inspection machines to help detect and stop fentanyl at our southwest border. Something tells me that when it comes to the drugs and things that are coming over the border, our government isn't all that interested in stemming that. Securing the border through these negotiations is a win for America. For everyone who's demanding a tougher border control, this is the way to do it. If you're serious about the border crisis, pass a bipartisan bill and I will sign it. Here's the thing. If it's truly a crisis, first of all, I know, everybody watching this knows it's beyond a crisis. And we've been overwhelmed. There's human trafficking going on. There's drug trafficking going on. It is beyond any sort of crisis. And it's been going on a long time. And for whatever reason, we see this every single time. It comes down to this bipartisan bill that they have to sign. And the argument right now is that the Democrats want to put a bunch of money in to give to Ukraine, and the Republicans don't want to do that. So then what ends up happening is it's a standoff. It's a stalemate. So each party points the fingers at each other and says, "See, they want Ukraine money," and then the Democrats point and they say, "See, we're trying to do what we can to secure the border, but the Republicans don't want to." And the other thing that people have to understand is there is no Republican or Democrat party. There hasn't been for a very long time. It's a uniparty. They work together. It's all a show. It's all an act. It's all not real. It's all smoke and mirrors. And the reason they hate Donald Trump so much is because he is the guy who turned the light on. And when he turned the light on, all the cockroaches started running. That's when everybody could see the cockroaches. So that's why Donald Trump, they are literally throwing everything they can at him. I mean, they're using the most corrupt judges in the most corrupt area of the country with the most biased jurors and the craziest people like E. Jean Carroll to throw every roadblock they possibly can. And he's just rolling right over it. Let me take a break real quick. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see streamlabs.com/Den Hendrickson. Help me support the channel. And you can donate as little as $5 on there. And, it helps support the channel. Whatever message you type in there will be read on air as well. And so I haven't really done much on really plugging anything or asking for much, but any little bit helps. I appreciate it. Let's see Who we got here? We got a few on every platform. So I guess the more platforms, the better. And what's also just crazy about this is that what these senators were saying back in the 90s. Let's hear what Barack Obama has to say.
We all agree on the need to better secure the border and to punish employers who choose to hire illegal immigrants. We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country. We all agree on the need.
So here's another Democratic senator back then, Senator Obama, who had a complete, I mean, this is the beauty of the internet, but at the same time, what's frustrating is here you have video of all of these people from the 90s, and this one was 2005, where they all agreed that having people coming across the border like they are today is a really bad idea. Now, if you were to ask them, they'll never give you a reason why they've changed their minds. They will totally avoid that. And notice that nobody from NBC or ABC, CBS, MSNBC is going to hold them accountable. Do you think any of them, and if anyone has video of it, please send it to me, because I certainly can't find it, of Rachel Maddow or Joe Scarborough or anybody in any of these things sitting these guys down and saying, look, you all had an issue with all of this mass migration and knew that it was a major problem back then. Why aren't you speaking out about it now against it? Why are you seemingly supporting it? But as corrupt as the media is right now, because they're all on the same team, including the billionaire donor class, they're never going to be held accountable. And this also goes to show you, back then, I think they sort of cared about their constituents, but they certainly don't care now. In fact, they hate you. And if they weren't already communists, they're probably have been, essentially taken over, bribed, or compromised by communists. I love reading some of the comments sometimes. That was before he drank the globalist Kool-Aid and started getting from the WEF. It's interesting. There you have Senator Barack Obama, who probably didn't have two pennies to rub together when he was a senator. And now he has a multi-million-dollar house in the Hamptons and a multi-million-dollar house in Hawaii. How is that possible when you never had an actual job? I mean, how does that happen? I mean, I can understand you having a few book deals and making some money. And, of course, all the bots and all the jack-offs from the dirtbag underworld of the internet will come out and say, whoa, he does book deal. Come on, man. I mean, and people oversimplify these homes, by the way. You're just going to get a multi-million-dollar home, two of them, by the way, and you don't think that you think that's it, that's the end of it. This is how simplistic most people think. You buy a house because you made a bunch of money on a book deal. You have to maintain that house. You also have to have a chef for the house that was in the Hamptons that mysteriously drowned under extremely mysterious circumstances that all of a sudden got swept under the rug too. So God only knows what was going on with that whole situation. This is way back from when they thought they could win elections legitimately. Today, not so much. And that's correct. This is their way to destroy a country, to steal an election. And now what may even be worse is they're going to take these people and they're going to put them in the military. And what do you think is going to happen when they put them in the military, especially when you're giving them free shit? Ironic that he is behind the present policy. Yeah, and a lot of people seem to think that he's the one essentially running the presidency now. So yeah, we have to stand with Texas, and with those of you who may not know, there are a bunch of states, Republican states, that are standing with Texas. And that's what needs to happen. And that's why I think now more than ever, we're starting to see more people waking up, more people kind of understanding, hey, wait a minute, there's something seriously wrong here. And that we have to do something about it. And here's another.
If people try to discourage you from voting. If you want to vote and you show up at your polling place, they can't stop you from voting. They can't stop you from voting. If people want to know how to vote, then you can go to iwillvote.com. The fact of the matter is that we give our power away all the time. We tell ourselves, oh, it's hard, it's not going to matter, it's not going to count. And the powers that be, they're counting on us giving our power away.
Many of the millennials, dreamers, undocumented citizens, and I call them citizens because they contribute to this country, are fearful of voting. So if I vote, will immigration know where I live? Will they come for my family and deport us?
Not true.
Okay.
And the reason is, first of all, when you vote, you are a citizen yourself, and there is not a situation where the voting rolls somehow are transferred over and people start investigating, etc. The sanctity of the vote is strictly confidential in terms of who you voted for. If you have a family member who maybe is undocumented, then you have an even greater reason to vote.
This has been a...
I got to play that again because I don't think I heard that right.
Dreamers, undocumented citizens, and I call them citizens because they contribute to this country, are fearful.
No, actually, they're not. They're here illegally. What's up, Mark? Thanks for being here. They're here illegally, so you can call them whatever you want. And for her to make that statement,
citizens, and I call them citizens because they contribute to this country.
How do you know that? I don't know when the hell this was. But how do you know that? I would argue, and a lot of people would argue, they're here because they were told that they would get free shit if they came to this country. So are there some that do contribute? 100%. But to make a blanket statement like that, we know where your bread is getting buttered.
Are fearful of voting. So if I vote, will immigration know where I live? Will they come for my family and deport us?
So if I'm illegal, is what she's asking, and I vote, do I have to worry about anything?
Not true.
Okay.
And the reason is, first of all, when you vote, you are a citizen yourself, and there is not a situation where the voting rolls somehow are transferred over and people start investigating, etc. The sanctity of the vote is strictly confidential in terms of who you voted for. If you have a family member who maybe is undocumented, then you have an even greater reason to vote.
This has been a...
So that sounded like to me, and Destiny, I don't know if those of you know who he is, the Krasensteins, other leftist, I believe, are paid leftists by the DNC or pass-throughs to the DNC, say that illegals don't vote in elections. That is a lie, number one. They do vote in some parts of the country in local elections, but the idea of Democrats is to do everything they possibly can to get him to vote. That's part of one of the reasons why they're here. Or they're trying to get him here to flood as many people in as they can. And you notice that this huge flood is happening now, like massive flood. It's almost like they're rushing as quick as they can to get as many people in. And that first video that I played you, you already have, now there's just another rush of these people coming in. And again, they're facilitated. You need to remember this, those of you, and you need to pass this to people that you know. The American Red Cross, Doctors Without Borders, and there's others, NGOs. And the reason the government uses non-governmental organizations is it's a way for them to avoid accountability. To be able to throw somebody else under the bus, to not say, we're directly involved in this.
What troubles me about the debate now about the southern border is it is one half of the immigration equation. Yes, we need order at the border. Yes, we need to have changes in the laws that reflect the reality of the overwhelming numbers from all over the world who are coming to our shores and our border. But there is also an incredible demand for legal immigration into this country even now. The presiding officer, my colleague from the state of Illinois, has legislation which addresses one aspect of that. Her bill, and I hope I describe it accurately, says that if you're an undocumented person in this country and you can pass the physical and the required test, background test, the like, you can serve in our military, and if you do it honorably, we will make you citizens of the United States. Do we need that? Do you know what the recruiting numbers are at the Army and the Navy and the Air Force? They can't reach their quotas each month.
They can't reach their quotas each month. And what Dickless Durbin wants to do is take people who are coming through. Now, some are going to argue that he's talking about DACA recipients or DACA individuals. It doesn't matter. But he wants to take people who are coming here and don't have citizenship and be in the military. And again, I think some would argue, well, for certain people, if they want to come and they want to serve the country, that's fine. But again, why are you rewarding someone breaking the law instead of, now what Dick Durbin should be doing, but he won't do that because, again, this is a strategy on the communist behalf, is to try to destroy America, and they're building an army in order to do so of people that will do what they ask them to do. It's a simple thing. Instead of having a commercial for the military saying that we're recruiting girls that have two moms, those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the Army had a advertising campaign, a recruiting advertising campaign that featured a cartoon with a girl with two moms. Hardly a commercial that would attract people who are gung-ho about being in the military and serving their country and getting involved in, you know, potentially firefights and Navy SEAL kind of stuff. And they wonder why their recruiting numbers were down. Well, again, I could argue that that was all done on purpose. Why would anyone in their right mind create a commercial that would recruit someone like that, as opposed to, if you look at the Chinese military commercials, Russian military commercials, I mean, you watch one of those things and you're ready to pick up a gun and start charging the front lines. So instead of the United States government saying, let's do everything we possibly can to encourage the kids of America that are here now to join the military. Let's give them the benefits. If they do that, they can get a free education. Or let's lower the amount of time they have to spend in the military from maybe 4 years to 2 years or 1 year or whatever it is. Let's do what we can to try and encourage people that are here now. But again, it's a communist strategy, which I've been saying for a long time. And people like Dick Durbin are compromised.
But in the meantime, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars continue to flow into this black hole called Ukraine, which I think is an exercise in fraud, deceit, and criminality, to be blunt. So when's it going to stop? When are we going to take care of Hawaii? Let's go back to Ohio, where we had the derailment and the chemical spill. 4,000 human beings living in this area. The water is still not fit to drink, as I understand it. We wouldn't even invest the money to move those people to a safer area, even if it meant temporary housing or permanent housing, until this thing was cleaned up. What have we done? This is the problem. It is America last on every level. The last people who are consulted, the last people who are benefiting from anything that goes on in Washington are Americans. This cannot go on. It's got to end. And I think it will end. But unfortunately, it's like everything else. We're going to have to be pushed over the cliff into the abyss. I think that's where we're headed.
So, yeah. But I think, you know, when you hear it is America last, of course, he's right. But really, what is it about? It's the destruction of America. It's being done on purpose. And part of it, a lot of it has to do with, of course, money. It's always about money. And this is why, and I'm going to get into it with the Kerry Lake incident. And I'm going to show to you where it doesn't really matter whether they're Democrats or Republicans. They're all the same. But I think, and a lot of it also is tied to China, because China is a communist state. CCP is infiltrated, I'm sure, a lot of our government. If you look at the politicians in California, if you look at, and I'm on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, a lot. And there's individuals that there's no question to me that, they're involved in American politics. They're advisors and politicians, and there's no question that they're CCP. There's no question they're communists. And I think what's happened is you have, and this ties into what happened with Kerry Lake, for those of you who don't know, being bribed to drop out of a race because of all the ties that the billionaire class has with the CCP. And so instead of where we used to be when it came to immigration back in the 90s and early 2000s, we were against communism, and obviously back in 60s and 70s we were against communism. Now all of a sudden it's seemingly being embraced, and I guess the money's really good, because it's the only explanation I have. I mean, it's really the only explanation, period, of why people would submit to communism and submit to the destruction of America. And what blows my mind is, don't you realize that when you submit to all this, that it doesn't matter how much money you have, because when the communists take over, you're going to be the first ones to be eliminated. They say that also in their playbook. The first people that are going to be eliminated once the communists take over are what they call the useless idiots. The ones they paid off and the ones who accepted the money, because they know they're traitors. Think about that. The communists, when they take over, which hopefully they won't, they're going to eliminate the ones that you see on TV, the ones who are taking the millions and billions of dollars, because they know that they're traitors to the country and they can't be trusted. They're being used right now. So but eventually what's going to end up happening is that, and they say it in their playbook, that they're going to be eliminated. Is this which convoy are you talking about? Is it trucker? There's a truck convoy going to 3 different places in the United States, which, if I have time, I'll get to that tonight. But or the convoy that I showed earlier on. I think you just got here, so you just have to let me know which one you're talking about. Let's go to this. It didn't blow my mind, but it, Carrie Lake, I hope that Carrie Lake becomes VP under Trump. The only thing is that she's running for senator. I'm not so sure whether it would be better to have someone else as VP for now and then have her be the senator for Arizona. But this goes to show you what I mean when there's only one part. There's a uniparty. There is not 2 parties. There's one party. The Democrats and the Republicans are acting as if there's 2 parties. And like I said before, when it comes to this bill that they're trying to put together in order to get the funding to stop this invasion at the border, they point fingers at each other and then continue to kick the can down the road. But Carrie Lake, this was 11 months ago, approximately. So this is a while ago. I thought it was recent, but it wasn't. She was sitting down with the head of the Arizona Republican Party. And she was told, or she got this call, and he said he was in the area and wanted to meet with her. So she knew that something was up. So she prepared for getting okay, it's a trucker convoy. Thanks, producer Bethany. I'll see if I'll pull some stuff up on that. But let me. So she knew that something was weird when this. When the head of the what the heck is this guy's name? Chat, you can tell me while I'm looking this up. Head of AZ. Actually, I have it in an article. Jeff DeWitt. He's the chair of the Arizona Republican Party. Okay, let me go back to this. Let me go ahead and play this hidden audio, or this audio that she recorded when he met with her.
So what's going on? What is? I'm assuming this is our friend.
This is back east. There are very powerful people that want to keep you out.
Oh no, they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So this conversation never happened.
This is crazy though. They should want me. I'm a great candidate. People love me. These people are corrupt.
Well, maybe you're right.
They are right. They are corrupt.
Maybe. This never happened. Don't go. Do you ever though? I'll get myself in trouble. If you say no, which is fine, it's your choice. Don't tell people.
They're gonna try to have me murdered.
I wouldn't doubt that either. Today's world, man. If that stuff that came out last week is right about the cartel stuff, man. They say the cartel's operating in 50 states right now, like all 50. You know? So.
Now, by the way, listening to this guy talk, this is like listening to Justin Trudeau talk. And I would rather listen to Joe Biden speak, because at least he just mumbles shit, and he doesn't talk like a baby like Trudeau. And then this guy just sounds like a sleazy scumbag.
So what's going on? Who is it? What?
Forget the who.
Forget the who.
Let me just tell you the what.
Let me tell you the what.
Let's just say there are people calling around saying, gosh, no, they can't repeat this. Never repeat this. If you say no, don't. Because say, I got offered to buy out. Don't use it. Because then we lose our ability to get things done in the future.
Here's my problem.
What an asshole.
Rather than just say, let's work with her. She's a great candidate. Because they don't own me. And it pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't know it's about ownership.
It's about control.
I don't know it's about control.
It's about money.
It's about being on the team. I guess that's, you know what I mean?
They want to be on the team.
They want you to be on their team.
But
just team. You know?
But if they're pushing a globalist agenda, I can't do that. So what do they want? What do they want me to do?
They want you to stay out for 2 years. What? I'll tell you what I can offer.
You believe that? They want her to stay out of running for senator for 2 years. I mean, it's unbelievable listening to this guy talk. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. Base Mac, I meant truck convoy. It appears that people are threatening to block the border themselves, if I interpret correctly. I don't know if they're threatening to block the border. I didn't see anything about that. All I know is I think what they're doing is something similar to a protest like the truckers' convoy in Canada, where they didn't block anything, but they sent the Gestapo. And by the way, there's stuff going on in Ottawa right now, again, with cops going around, Gestapo police, harassing and ticketing people who are protesting, who all they're doing is just protesting. They're not doing anything violent. They're not doing anything. They're not sitting in the middle of the road like a bunch of climate protesters, keeping traffic from moving, and ambulances taking people who are sick or injured or in life-threatening deals to the hospital.
But I said, you can do whatever she wants, talking head, this and that. So the ask of me was, it's kind of funny. So the ask I got today from back east was, is there any companies out there or something that could just put her on the payroll and give her, to keep her out? And I said, well, what are you willing to do? Like, whatever we need to do.
This is about defeating Trump. And I think that's a bad, bad thing for our country. DeSantis is not America first. This is about the final death blow to Trump. And I don't think that's good for our country.
And you know I love Trump. I love Trump.
It's not good for our country, Jeff.
He loves money more than Trump.
Not. But at the same time, I'm not even sure Trump can win again.
And that's amazing for that guy to say. He doesn't know that. There's no way that he knows that. I mean, here's a guy who's supposedly the head of the GOP for Arizona. He is getting instructions from a cartel, essentially, They're no better than the mafia telling him to tell Kerry Lake this.
I don't know that you can win. I think what it really comes down to for a lot of people, it's not really about like control or agenda. It's just about the ability to raise money to win. You know, if you really want to know, all of politics boils down to money. I think. And even on their end, like what makes them the most money.
I know all these consultants don't want their payday to end, and I don't want to make a deal with these kind of people. This is a hill worth dying on. I'm not. If they're going to steal the election to make me and our movement go away, I'm not letting them do that. I owe it to the people of Arizona,
Or
to carry their torch and their voice.
Or you don't go away, but you pause.
This is the battles right now, Jeff.
You pause.
And refill your coffers.
No, the battle is right now. The battle is right now, and we don't have time to pause on this battlefield.
You're not. You can't scratch their back. It's not afraid of you.
Yeah.
You don't have anything to offer them. And they're sitting around people that have stuff to offer them. You know what I mean? It's just it's a back scratching club. That's all DC is. It's a big back scratching club. You're in no position to scratch anybody's back, and you've already made it known that if you get there, you're not going to scratch anybody's back. I don't scratch people's back. You know, I've been on the outs for a lot of people for a long time because I don't scratch backs. You know, where are we in 2 years if they steal the election again?
Listen to what you're saying. Why don't we do something about it so that we the people can pick our...
What can we do?
I'm not willing to accept that. And I'm going to be the biggest pain in these people's... Go back and tell them that. I'm running, and I'm going to be the biggest pain in their...
I'm willing to tell them that.
And they're going to have to kill me to stop me.
No, I know. Look. And
you don't have to tell.
So there you go. Let's read a little bit more about this. Because there's been some investigating going on with this this writer for the Arizona Sun-Times, and they think, and this is their reporting now, I don't know what kind of proof they have or what, but it all makes sense when you read this and listen to this, is the NRSC. And this is, these are Republicans. And to give you an idea who they are, the Senate Republicans, National Republican Senatorial Committee. And let's read what this person has to say about it. NRSC Chairman Steve Daines reportedly told NBC News correspondent Sahil Kapoor that he was unaware of the payoff offer from AZ-GOP Jeff DeWitt. Kapoor posted on X that Daines told him he just saw the report on it. I have not listened to it. I saw the social media post. First I've heard of it, the NBC journalist said. Jeff DeWitt, the chair of the Arizona Republican Party, AZ-GOP, resigned on Wednesday after an audio recording was leaked revealing him offering Kerry Lake money and a job if she stayed out of politics for 2 years. Now questions are arising as to who told DeWitt to make the offer. The former chair of AZ-GOP said very powerful people back east were behind it, as you heard from the video. A source knowledgeable of the situation told the Arizona Sun-Times that it was the National Republican Senatorial Committee, NRSC, naming political director Tim Edson. However, when the Sun-Times asked NRSC if this is true, the organization did not respond. What does that tell you? If it wasn't, wouldn't you think that they would say, no way, that wasn't us. Don't even ask us again. There's absolutely no way. No way, big lie. It wasn't us. You notice all this funny shit is going on still in Arizona? Notice there's always something happening in Arizona. Let's not forget what happened with Kari Lake. Originally, for governor, and it's amazing. If you say anything on Twitter, man, the bots come out of nowhere, dude. I mean, it's just crazy how many people will attack. God forbid you say anything about the fact that Kari Lake actually won that gubernatorial race. Former Maricopa County Attorney Andrew Thomas told the Sun-Times, the massive payola we long suspected flowed beneath the surface in Arizona apparently has been exposed at last. Now imagine if this is, this in Arizona. Imagine like really what's going on across the entire country and the planet. DeWitt, pictured above, issued a lengthy statement after resigning, criticizing Lake for releasing the audio recording. He said that Lake told him if he didn't resign, she would release even more disturbing audio recordings. This is an interesting statement, and the reason it's interesting is because Kari Lake did not have anything else other than that. She was on an interview with Glenn Beck, and she said, I don't have any other recordings. I don't know what he's talking about. That tells you something. That tells you that he has, or thinks that there is a lot more, and he's guilty of a lot more, in my mind, by making that statement. The NRSC, along with his counterpart on the House side, the National Republican Congressional Committee, NRCC, has a lengthy history of meddling in primary races to keep conservative candidates they don't believe are viable out of those races. So I guess this is kind of a normal thing. In August 2022, the NRSC pulled $10 million worth of campaign ads from 3 candidates running for the U.S. Senate. Blake Masters in Arizona, Dr. Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania, and Ron Johnson in Wisconsin. Despite the loss of funding, Johnson won re-election. Rumors are swirling that former AZ GOP chair Kelly Ward may replace DeWitt, at least for the interim. Ward told the Sun-Times, I don't think I'll be asked back, and I don't really want to go back. There are only 10 months to get things together. Whoever takes over has been set up for failure. I hope that wasn't the deep state plan all along. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. I hope that wasn't the deep state is what's running even the GOP. So while all of us are arguing with each other, the Democrats suck. No, the Republicans suck. The Democrats suck. Everybody's pointing fingers at each other. It's all one party. It's a uniparty. It's like worldwide wrestling. It's like the WWE, or WWF, worldwide, the fake wrestling organization. Nothing's real. She said the party was in much better shape under her tenure, which ended in 2022. Nothing like bragging about yourself. The party wasn't in disarray when I left, but I'm sure because no one probably talked about all this conniving bullshit that was going on in the background. We had a robust state party, digital and mail fundraising apparatuses in place, some of the best, if not the best, in the U.S. per our vendors. But he canceled those contracts and tried starting over with other entities. We saved a legislative majority through hard work and determination, and even flipped a traditionally Dem seat to Republican. But what does it matter when you have people like Mitch McConnell, who's married to someone who has ties to companies in China? I mean, all of our politicians are corrupt. Every single one of them. Ward expressed concern that DeWitt had been gaslighting and trying to point the blame at her administration while more serious problems emerge under his. I hope the party can recover from the destruction of the last year. I mean, I think there needs to be a clean slate. I think you need to just get rid of everybody and start all over again. So the bottom line is that this finally coming out and Kerry Lake taping this conversation really gives you a good idea of what's going on. And it does. It comes down to money. I mean, he even said it's hard for them. They want to be able to. It's all about raising money, and you get told this over and over and over again. What's up, Kazan? But to hear this and hear this guy actually talk about it, and you can see the amount, and someone was willing to pay Kerry Lake, and God only knows how much money it would be. Tens of millions of dollars to stay out of politics for 2 years. And think about how many people say, okay. I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, but you have a lot of these, and those of you who don't follow Laura Loomer, and I'm not going to get into this now because I'm going to wrap it up, but Laura Loomer has been doing a really good job on exposing, and she has, I don't know if she's still doing, I haven't looked at her account the last couple of days, but she's doing a really good job of exposing the billionaires, the billionaire donor class that has been giving money to Nikki Haley. And again, you look at it and you go, why are billionaires giving money to Nikki Haley's campaign? What's the purpose of that? It doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you want to support Trump? Well, when you look at a lot of these billionaires, they're hedge fund guys. These big companies, it's a couple of them that I looked up. They need some of them need taxpayer dollars in order to make money. And I think you'd be surprised how many multi-millionaire, billionaires use taxpayer dollars in order to get rich. Julian Assange said it, and this is why they want him dead. The military-industrial complex stays alive through taxpayer dollars. And the reason you have so many politicians like Lindsey Graham, et cetera, who are in the pockets of these big military contract companies is because taxpayer dollars fund their bill. They can't come up with anything creative that people are willing to buy and purchase from them. So the only way that they can get rich is by taking dollars that you and I work our asses off for, the middle class. All of us, the middle class, we work day in, day out, work our asses off. We're not rich. But then we're expected to pay taxes, and then that taxpayer money goes to these multimillionaires that give all of this money to certain candidates, and they say, look, when we pass these bills, you need to give more money to Ukraine, and you need to give more money to, horsefish on unicycles. Like all this pork belly spending. And that's how these people stay rich. And that's what this guy is talking about is the back scratching deal, Jeff DeWitt. You're not a back scratcher. He's trying to say he's not one. If you're not a back scratcher then, Jeff, then why are you telling Kerry Lake to stay out of the race for 2 years? Is that not a favor that you're doing for someone? Is that not something you're doing because someone asked you to do that? Of course it is. Kazan, I don't think the RNC ever tried to help the Mastriano for governor campaign in PA. Now the governor is Josh Shapiro, who was the Democratic PA Attorney General during the election of 2020. And Trump screwed us by endorsing Oz for Senate. It was him versus Fetterman. Yeah, what kind of choice is that? You know what's really weird about Fetterman is all of a sudden he can talk now. The guy the guy needed a machine to like talk, and now all of a sudden he's normal. And this is like, maybe it's legitimate. I don't know that much about, his situation. Based on what I see in the news, but isn't that odd? Unlimited L's. Let's see here. This was an hour ago. A truck convoy called Army of God heads to the southern border. I hate that song, so I'm not going to play it, but yeah, I'm trying to find more about this because there was some sort of flyer. And I just don't think anything is going to happen with this. I was saying earlier because the same sort of trucker deal was headed to D.C. and it was headed off at the pass. It was blocked by D.C. police. Plus, these guys are going to 3 different places. Bear with me and I'll try and find it. Sure, I couldn't Google it if I wanted to. But I just don't think anything's going to come of this. I really don't. I hope it does. But the powers that be are going to try and stop it. Okay, here's something more about it.
Let's talk about this trucker convoy. You brought this up just a moment ago. So this is called Take Our Border Back. It kicks off Monday. So you've got multiple starts. You've got trucks leaving from Virginia Beach that are going to go through Texas, Arizona, California. On the website, it describes the event as a peaceful assembly, encouraging all freedom-loving and law-abiding Americans to attend. I saw that you posted on X to raise awareness about that. You obviously just mentioned it a moment ago. I understand that you're going to be speaking once they get to Eagle Pass. I also see that it's going to go through Yuma. It's going to go San Ysidro, California as well.
See, that's where I think when you break it up into 3 different places, Eagle Pass, Yuma, and this San Ysidro, California, you're breaking it up to where there isn't this one point of to where everybody can kind of gather and then a lot of people can sort of cover it. The mainstream media is definitely not going to cover it. I'm shocked. Well, it's on Fox Business, which unsurprisingly, I guess they have to give it some airtime. But spreading it out among 3 different spots, I think, is going to be hard to cover it from the alternative media perspective. Maybe I'm wrong. I think maybe one advantage is that they by breaking it up, it's less likely to be stopped by law enforcement, which I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to try and stop it somehow. And seeing it on Fox News, makes me more. I don't know. I just don't think anything's going to come of this.
700,000 vehicles. That's the prediction
here.
How
do they know that?
How do you
number?
keep that peaceful and on track? That's a lot of trucks.
Well, the people that have organized this are the same people that went from California to D.C. with the truckers. I understand we're going to be joined by Canadian truckers. So these people are committed to a peaceful demonstration that we've had enough. The American people have had enough. We're demanding that the Biden administration do its job, enforce the laws on the books, and secure our border. 8 million people during the Biden administration. That's more than the population of Ohio. This is the time for us to rise up as the American people and demand that our president do his job. This should be a peaceful movement of the American people, joined by other nations if they want to come. This is the Canadian farmers, truckers. This is the German farmers. This is the French farmers. This is the Dutch farmers. This is a movement well beyond the United States that people are simply tired of the overreach of their federal governments, and we're pushing back. Now is the time.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that has to be realized is that, again, that we're in a war against communism. We are in a war against an enemy that does not give a shit what this guy just said. They don't care about a bunch of trucks going down to the border. They don't care that you're fed up. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at all of us. Because they're looking at it and saying, you know, we're just steady as she goes. Little things, little increments, little by little by little. They've been doing this for decades. And little by little, they've taken control. And now they're really, I think what they're doing is they're starting to panic a bit because I think they believe that Donald Trump's going to be in power. So they're doing everything they can. It's considered accelerationism. They're accelerating their program. They realize that they don't have a lot of time left because a lot of this stuff is going to get reversed. But the more people that they can get into the country, they know it's not going to be possible to deport all of these people. Plus, Donald Trump's going to have a real heck of a time getting all of that organized because he's going to have all kinds of opposition. Because again, this was all by design to destroy the country. So the more that they can flood in, the better the communists are, because it's going to make it more difficult to deport all of them. Now, it's possible. It can be done. But it's going to be a much more difficult task for Donald Trump to do that. So the more, the better. So this whole trucker thing, I think it's nice, good for them that they're going to go down there and do that. I really do hope it turns into something, and I hope that I'm wrong. But I think this is a joke. I don't think it's going to amount to much of anything, and I don't think that I don't think these people really truly understand what's going on. I think a lot of these people are kind of waking up now and finally saying, hey, wait a minute, we have all these people coming into the country, but they really truly don't understand the reason why it's happening. And it's happening because this is several different reasons. It's replacing us. It's replacing the workforce. It's holding down wages. It's adding them to the military in order to take us over eventually. And this is all in the Communist Playbook. It's to flood a country with non-assimilating immigrants that don't have the same values as legal and assimilating immigrants. They don't have the same work ethic. They don't have the same Christian values. They don't have the same belief in God. They're here to take. And you heard, for those of you that didn't see the video that I played in the beginning, and you can watch the replay from the beginning, I encourage you to watch it. When these immigrants are coming in and they're being interviewed, they're flashing gang signals. They're saying that Biden invited them here, that they're going to take care of them. They're not here saying, listen, I fled because my entire family's in danger. And most of these people that are coming in are military-aged men. Why do you think that is? Do you think because they're fleeing some sort of They need asylum? They don't need asylum. They're here because they're being told by the NGOs like Doctors Without Borders and the Red Cross that you're going to get free stuff. And they are. They're getting $5,000 gift cards. They're getting cell phones. They're getting shipped all over the country, which that's going to make it even more difficult to deport them later. This is a well thought out strategy to destroy the country. This is a well thought out battle plan. This isn't just, oh, a bunch of people just happen to be coming to the border. Do you honestly think, you should ask anyone that you know that's a liberal, that these people, do you really honestly believe that these people are coming from the southern border because they're seeking asylum? And I know a lot of them probably will because they're stupid. And it is really what's demoralizing to me is the stupidity of most people, because that really is another army that you're fighting against. Not only are you fighting against the army of communists, but you're fighting an army of stupidity on top of it. People who believe that Biden is a good person. People that believe that the government does the right thing. People that believe that these immigrants that are coming up here are doing it because they're seeking asylum. And that they're not being encouraged to come here because they're being told that they're going to be given free stuff. That they don't realize that Doctors Without Borders and Red Cross and other NGOs are getting paid to facilitate this. They make money off of this. When you see the undercover reporting of James O'Keefe, and he tries to interview these people at the airport, and he tries to interview people that are facilitating the immigration, and they violently threaten him instead of saying, "Hey, we're just trying to help these people out. These are people seeking asylum." No, they violently threaten him. They throw hands. Bethany thinks that Fetterman is not really Fetterman, that Fetterman is a robot. It could be. I mean, everything with AI these days. But we're fighting two fronts. We're fighting stupidity. And people are getting dumber each day. And again, the other communist strategy is to keep as many people as dumb as possible. And you see that, I would never encourage anyone to go to college anymore unless they were actually going there to get an engineering degree, or if they were going to get, become a doctor or something. There's no reason to go to college because you're being indoctrinated there. People are coming out dumber than before or after, before they went in. And the communists will tell you, when you indoctrinate, or when you try to influence younger people, it's much easier because their minds are more malleable at that younger age, to where you can indoctrinate them and they're easier to control. And we're seeing what's happening here. And then with social media and everything else, it's making it easier to control. All right, we got more people. I'll stay on a little longer. But if you wouldn't mind, those of you that are on, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, you can donate, help. I'm doing all this for free. I used to actually make money on YouTube, but YouTube demonetized my channel to basically next to nothing. And this trucker convoy brings back memories, because when I first started, I was doing a lot of stuff on the trucker convoy when things were actually, the algorithm hadn't caught up to that yet. But if you go to streamlabs.com/Den Hendrickson, it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. at least somebody do it, because I need to at least test it to see if it works. But you can donate as little as $5, and your message will be read. It'll be read on air on the screen, like automatically. It pops up and then drops a bunch of stuff in that jar there, or that glass that you see. So I'm just, every little bit helps, because again, I'm doing this for free. If you do appreciate what I'm doing, if you don't and you think, I suck or whatever, I totally understand. You don't want to give me money. But again, I'm doing this for free. I'm trying to do as much as I can to spread the word. The main reason I'm doing this is because there's so many people that I know, like when I have these conversations, they have no idea what I'm talking about. And it's understandable. And those aren't the stupid people. Those are the people when you tell them, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. The stupid ones will say, well, if it wasn't on CNN, that didn't happen. Well, if I didn't see it on the news, then it's not true. Or the ones that hate Trump and think that Joe Biden is a nice guy and is doing all the right things and trust the government. So the purpose of me doing this is to try and do my part to get the word out to as many people as possible. Of course, with my opinions and my spin on things. And it's something that I really enjoy doing. So, again, please consider donating, going to streamlabs.com/Den Hendrickson. And you can donate as little as $5. And what's nice about that too is YouTube won't take 60% of that money. I don't want any of that money going to YouTube. They don't deserve it. I don't mind Rumble. You can do the Rumble chat. But no one seems to want to chat. I mean, I've got the most it's not that many, but more people on Rumble, but nobody wants to chat on Rumble. I don't get it. I wonder if they just put my thing on and walk away from the computer. All right, let's see what else we got here. Speaking of the trucker protests and then all that shit that was going on in south of the border in Ottawa, here is these nitwit Ottawa cops. Look at these guys. I mean, these guys are just absolute drones, absolute pathetic losers. I'm all for abolishing the police. They are a complete joke, the ones that we have left. We might as well just take care of ourselves at this point. These people are writing tickets to those who are just protesting. And they are sent out there to harass these protesters, and the protesters have had enough of it and have a lot of choice words for these guys. And by the way, they're celebrating the 2nd anniversary of the Freedom Convoy's arrival. So immediately you know what happened. The communists in Ottawa sent these cops out. And what the cops should do, if they were good people, would say, sorry, but I'm not going to harass people who are protesting. I'm not going to do that. But you can tell by, especially this guy right here, and I'll play this video. You look at these people. They became cops for a reason. They were either bullies or they were bullied, one or the other. And for them to write tickets to people who are protesting or celebrating, really, the Ottawa protest, the Freedom Convoy, is disgusting.
Ticket time in Ottawa. It's ticket time in Ottawa here. Juicer! On you! That's it! Marcel!
There you go, writing a ticket.
Find something to do, man. Shame on you! Shame on you all, man! Aren't you fucking fat? Why don't you go
Hey, Darlene, I do appreciate that. You do always say to share stuff out. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You will all be charged. Cowards. Get the whole line of them here.
You look at the smirks on their faces.
And there's more coming. Crap. Hey, what is going on here? This is craziness. This was all about a bylaw ticket, folks. Two females right beside. This was all about a bylaw ticket, folks. That's worth it, I guess, eh? Bylaw ticket? This was really worth it, I guess, for a few bylaw tickets, right?
So I don't know anyone that's Canadian, if there's anyone Canadian on this, what the bylaw ticket means. But what I find interesting.
You're putting the whole public in danger over a couple of bylaw tickets. All of you are putting everyone here in danger over some goddamn bylaw tickets.
Yeah, they're just going to be yelling most of the rest of the this deal, but they keep saying over bylaw tickets. I don't know what the severity of that is. All I know is to me it's pretty simple. You have a bunch of cops, and this isn't just Canada, okay? This is going on also in the United States. When you couple this with the lawfare that's going on, the arresting of the January 6th protesters, the fact that they're going after more protesters who were just standing around on January 6th. These are communist regimes. These are no doubt this is tyranny and oppression at its finest. We are living in a tyrannical world. The worst part of all of this, what facilitates tyranny and oppression, are these police. If it wasn't for the police that are coming in here and doing what they're doing, this wouldn't happen. These cops are guilty for taking away the rights of people across the globe, all of them, whether it's J6 and including the prosecutors, including the judges, because none of this stuff would take place at all if it weren't for the police. And I put down Coward Cops with, 158 likes, over 6,000 views. Then and people agree with it. If it wasn't for these cops doing what they're doing, then the tyranny and oppression could not be enforced. It's these cowards with guns and badges. And they're no better than the Justin Trudeaus. They're no better than the Klaus Schwabs. They're no better than the SS in Nazi Germany. They're no better than the secret police in East Germany. These are shameful people. They're shameful. And I lose more and more respect every day when I see this for police. And not enough for speaking out against this kind of stuff. Because again, if it wasn't for these people enforcing these rules when they don't have to, we wouldn't have this problem in across the entire planet right now. And that's why I'm saying with this trucker thing going down south, I have no hope for it. And the main reason why is because just like the police, the DC police, when they tried to do their own trucker protest in Washington, D.C., was immediately shut down. And then in UK, story after story, most people will sit there and say, how can you say this stuff about you? You're not reading about it. You're not paying attention. You're not seeing the things that are going on. Conor McGregor in Ireland, when he spoke out against the protesters that were lighting the migrant housing things on fire, he's speaking out against the government because people are upset at the fact that they're being overrun by illegal immigration as well. The police open up an investigation on him for just simply stating something on Twitter. That's what the police are going after. So they're using the police to shut down those. And then in the UK, if you can be arrested for quote unquote hate speech, and they're trying to do that here. And just recently, the prosecutors they're saying that if people were just standing around and weren't in the building at all on January 6th, they're going to be prosecuted now. So what ends up happening is those prosecutors use the law enforcement officers who are willing and able to go after these innocent people with guns drawn and arrest them and then bring them to put them in jail. But if the cops, because everybody knows this, this is not even an argument. It's not in dispute. All of this stuff that's going on right now is to intimidate. If the cops said, or the federal agent said, we're not doing that, I refuse those orders. But their excuse is, I've got kids to feed. Oh, okay. So you're willing to keep your job and do what it is that you're doing because you have kids to feed. So meanwhile, do you not understand that you're destroying a country to where you're just prolonging the inevitable? You're prolonging the fact that you're not going to be able to feed your kids because these tyrannists are they're shutting down farmland. They're taking farmland away from people. They're culling cows. They're culling farm animals. They're seizing farms. All the protests that are going on all over Europe, the German farmers, the Dutch farmers. And how do you think they shut the farms down? Law enforcement? So I can go on and on about this, but I understand now why. I mean, I know what the leftists were saying, abolish the police, but at this point, what's the point? If all they're going to do is go after innocent people like they just did right here in Ottawa and they did a couple of years ago, and there's people that are being held in Ottawa still without trial, and people and related to January 6th are being held without trial. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing, and then I'm going to call it.
I seem to recall Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson looking very uncomfortable in his Biden/Harris endorsement video from 2020. Looks like GIFs and alert things require a monthly subscription to Streamlabs Pro.
I think that's a thank you, by the way, for doing that. Just some guy. I think you're right for a regular. And the thing is I'm kind of starting out small. So if you just want to do like a once-off kind of donation, I appreciate it. And then I'll do the monthly one. If you want to do a monthly one, put that in the chat, and I'll. I think I'm not sure where you were at, depending on which, whether you're on Odyssey, YouTube, Rumble, or Kick, let me know, or just put that in the chat. Let me know if that's what you want to do, a monthly deal. But thank you again for doing that. You're the first. You're the first one. I don't know about all of you. Let me know what you think about Ben Shapiro, but I am not a fan, and he is, to me, kind of in my opinion, part of the establishment. I mean, there's a lot to get into on the reason why. It's probably a whole video or stream. Basematic, I don't think. In Alberta, not Ottawa. Okay, you probably know more about it than I do. I know there's a trial going on with, and I forget her name. It was a man and a woman who were arrested for quote unquote mischief. And there's a long trial going on with them. And I'm not sure what the result of that is, or if the trial is still going on. So, Basematic, tell me what happened with the Alberta deal, because I'm not familiar with that. And was that at the same time as the Ottawa? Yeah, Ben Shapiro was, first of all, let me just describe this first. This is really hard to watch this video. It's really cringy and extremely telling of the arrogance of a lot of these guys like him and Tim Pool and others that I believe have just gotten to the point where they just think that instead of really focusing on what's going on and what's wrong with America, is that they have massively profited off of it and are taking advantage of it. And this video, I haven't watched through the whole thing. I could barely watch it, but if I have to watch it, I got to show it to all of you. But yeah, Ben Shapiro, I'm not a fan at all. He was a never Trumper, huge never Trumper, just like Glenn Beck. All of a sudden then, and he was also an advocate of the telling everybody that they had to get the vax. So he was a vax pusher. And then, a huge, obviously fan of what was going on with Israel. Now, I haven't really taken sides either way on the Israel-Palestine conflict, because quite honestly, either side, with what was going on is absolutely crazy. But Ben Shapiro is taking a very violent stance, I believe, from the Israel side. But this is trending everywhere. This is kind of a big deal that he's done a rap. He's in the #1 rap video. This also goes to show you how, if you have enough money, which these guys do with the Daily Wire, these guys they're probably I don't know if they're $1 billion company, but they've got lots and lots and lots of money. And it's really, to me, is sad because, again, a lot of people follow them. A lot of them give them money. And again, you're giving money to a never Trumper. This is a guy who hated Donald Trump. He probably still does, but only kind of goes along with it because he makes money off of it. But here these guys have somehow manipulated this video to be #1 in rap. And you can explain this to me, because I don't understand it.
It's controversial. It's only 2 genders, boys and girls. They can't cancel my message because I'm the biggest independent rapper in the whole freaking world. Claim that I'm racist, yeah, alright. I'm not ashamed because I'm white. If every Caucasian's a bigot, I guess every Muslim's a terrorist. Every liberal is right. I don't want to talk to folks who don't get it. Go woke, go broke, no hope, it's pathetic. Pro-choice, pronouns, pro-love, you're progressive. But you ain't pro-gun, no one to protect it. Where the American flags at? Remember when people would hang those? They've been taken down, they all been replaced with BLM flags or a rainbow. This ain't rap, this ain't money, cars and clothes. We ain't selling drugs, we ain't gonna overdose. We ain't pushing guns, ain't promoting stripper poles. We won't turn your sons into thugs or your daughters into hoes. I don't care if I offend you. I was put here to upset you. You can cry and you can scream. You can riot in the streets. You defunded the police. Now there's no one to protect you. I hope I offend you. I ask myself what would Ben do? Let's just keep it real, facts. Don't care how you feel, man. If you want my pronouns, I'm the man. I'm the man who don't respect.
Let's look at the stats. I've got the facts. My money like Lizzo, my pockets are fat. Homie, I'm epic. Don't be a wap. Dog, it's a yarmulke. Homie, no cap. Look at the graphs. Look at my charts. You're blowing money on strippers and cars. You go into prison. I'm on television. Dog, no one knows who you are. Keep hating on me on the internet. My comment section all woke Karens. And I make racks off compound interest. Y'all live with your parents. Nikki, take some notes. I just did this for fun. All my people download this. Let's get a Billboard #1.
This ain't rap. This ain't money, cars and clothes. We ain't selling drugs, we ain't gonna overdose. We ain't pushing guns, ain't promoting stripper poles. We won't turn your sons into thugs or your daughters into hoes. I don't care if I offend you. I was put here to upset you. You can cry and you can scream. You can riot in the streets. You defunded the police. Now there's no one to protect you. I hope I offend you. I ask myself what would Ben do? Let's just keep it real, facts. Don't care how you feel, man. If you want my pronouns, I'm the man. I'm the man who don't respect you. You mad, you mad, you mad. I guess it's cool to be the victim. Well, I'ma be the man. You sad, you sad, you sad. You just try to get attention. Being triggered's all you have. You mad, you mad, you mad. You blame everybody else for every problem that you can. You sad, you sad, you sad. I will never say I'm sorry, I ain't taking nothing back. I don't care if I offend you. I was put here to upset you. You can cry and you can scream. You can riot in the streets. You defunded the police. Now there's no one to protect you. I hope I offend you. I ask myself what would Ben do? Let's just keep it real, facts. Don't care how you feel, man. If you want my pronouns, I'm the man. I'm the man who don't respect you.
Okay, that was horrible. Then the Tom McDonald is good. If Ben Shapiro wasn't in the video, it would be very, very good. But Ben Shapiro ruined that video. And in fact, it looks like it's AI Ben Shapiro. It doesn't even, he looks like a robot generated by AI. And I don't want to, one of the things I don't like doing is making fun of other people. Because I think just don't like doing it, but I will take exception with Ben Shapiro because I think he's an asshole and he's arrogant and he was a never Trumper, so I consider him really an enemy. I think he's no different than the guy who's the head of the Arizona GOP. These are people who profit off of, massively profit off of politics. And this just proves his arrogance that I would, in a million years, I'd be like, look, this isn't for me. You know, you could show me maybe on a TV screen, like briefly or something like that, but I'm not going to sit there and actually do a rap. Stand there with a sweatshirt on and look like a robot. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't want to ruin this video. You go ahead and you're the professional rapper. You're the professional singer. You're the entertainer in that realm. I'm not that guy. But Ben is so arrogant that he thinks that he can be in this rap. And then on top of it, what really blows my mind is that he's able to make it number one. And that just goes to show you, it just goes to show you how, and Tim Pool did the same thing. Tim Pool is another one of these guys that these guys think that they can change the culture somehow. And I can understand, changing the culture but there's other ways of doing it. And so anyway, I just think that, when I watched this and it was hard to get through it. But yeah, I mean, this is just another one of those things where I just look at it and I just kind of throw my hands in the air and go, I guess people are going to continue to give money to this guy. And it's sad because there are really people that are out there. They're trying to do the best that they can to get the word out. And this is, for him, it's no different than a Fox News to me. What Ben and the people at the Daily Wire and Tim Pool and all these guys have let the money get to the point where it's now they say things and do things to keep themselves from getting bounced off of YouTube, as opposed to coming right out and saying what it is that needs to be said. I've offended your ears, Cass. I've got no idea who Tom McDonald is authentic politically, but I do know that his music isn't for it. And like I said, I don't have a problem with Tom McDonald. I think with what he's doing is good. For someone like him to change the culture, I'm all for it. I don't know. That's kind of hard. Like, I think Drake, the rapper, has kind of changed a little bit. He was working with another rapper guy who does conservative stuff. That's where the change in the culture needs to be, when you're getting people like that who are more of the mainstream and you're kind of changing them politically. But when you have somebody like Ben Shapiro who says, okay, I'm going to be in your rap video. And, he just stands there and he just ruined what Tom McDonald did. And I don't know why. I guess maybe Tom McDonald's getting money from Ben. That's the only thing. That's the only reason. If I were Tom McDonald, I'd be like, look, man, unless you're giving me $1 million to produce this video or whatever it is, I'd rather you not be in it. Yeah, there's not much different. Yeah, AI singers and yeah. And the thing is, too, pretty soon all this stuff is going to be AI generated, including people like rappers and all that stuff. Yeah, I have a picture of Eye Patch McCain, Andy. Yeah, no, I don't. Picture of Ben and Eye Patch McCain. I got to look that up. I don't think I've even seen it, but I'll look it up. Okay. That does it for me for Saturday night. Thank you all for being here for the full 2 hours. And yeah, I'm just kind of getting started on all this. This is like the past, 3 weeks now, doing it on a regular basis. I'll be here tomorrow night at 8. And building up a little bit of a following here. I know it's going to take time, but for those of you that are here that have been consistent, Kazan especially, thank you. Darlene, you are someone who's been on all of the videos that I post. You are, I appreciate you. And then the person that did the super chat, it didn't stay up long enough, and I don't have you on any of the other chats, so sorry, I can't remember who you are, but send me a chat or put something in the comments to let me know. Basematic, thank you. Geronimo, I think you're one of those leftist trolls that troll me. Mark Hope, you're a regular, thank you if you're still around. So thank you to all of you that are here in producer Bethany. Yes, Tamara Lynch, Basematic, thank you for... she was found innocent. Oh, good. She's free. 4 men still in custody in Alberta. They just had a convoy and counts today as a protest. Convoy has power. Yeah, good. Like I said, I hope that I'm wrong with the trucker protest stuff. I hope it takes off, and I hope it gains momentum, and I hope it does something. But I think the Ottawa protest was sort of out of the blue. It wasn't one of those things that was, pre-planned as far as I know. It kind of just sort of grew out on its own. And unfortunately, when you have those that kind of try to do the same thing or copy off of it, it doesn't take off as well. And that definitely was the case in D.C. And I have a feeling that that's going to be the case in Texas, but especially when you're there at three different spots. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it takes on kind of its own thing and grows and gets more attention. It's not going to get any attention from the mainstream media, but hopefully it gets attention from. I know that Alex Jones is heading to the border tomorrow, or he's going to have a team that's going to go down there. So we'll see what happens there and see what they come up with. But again, thank you all for being here. I'm going to sign off. We'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Good night.